If you're watching this video, it is because you're looking to make changes and create order in your environment, which is a reflection of how orderly your cranial universe is. Yes, your wonderful brain is asking for a change. When we created this workshop called UCO with 4 master classes for full activation, the first thing I did was to put it in practice in my life. Here in Vimes, everything that we teach is effectively tested, and in my case, the results were amazing. The truth is that when your brain is organized, everything around you becomes organized. As explained by Tao Rivallo, a psychologist who specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy, cleanliness and order greatly influence our mental health. Human beings tend to always search for balance, both internally and externally, and that has to do with our environment. If we look around, everything requires order, even in nature. So we're programmed for that order. I've experienced enormous changes in my life by applying certain things. I thought I was a very organized person, but the truth was I didn't realize I was rigid. So the question arises, what is the difference between being orderly and being rigid? Well, our health helps us to answer that question. If to keep your environment clean and beautiful and your life in order with an agenda and a good schedule, you end up with body pain, pain in your back, a tense neck, I assure you that you are rigid. You're not enjoying the process of being organized. This is a sign that enters your brain, and the brain then sends that message to your beautiful body, and there go the aches and pains. On the contrary, if you enjoy doing what you're doing while you're doing your chores, you fulfill your daily goals, you start by writing them down without spending a whole lot of time on it and no stress, then it means you're doing it really well. You're relaxed and your body's like, this is good. It tells you when you finish your task to even applaud yourself and say, job well done. Now rest. That was my case. And then that was of the first participants as well, their experience of the Masterclass UCO, which is short for Organized Cranial Universe. From rigidity when organizing their environment and their life in general, they discovered that flexibility is the key, and they began to see with each workshop challenge that organizing can be relaxing and positive in every aspect. Now let's talk about the benefits you'll get by doing your UCO workshop. First, you'll learn simple techniques that are very effective when it comes to organizing yourself at home, work, or even with schoolwork. Your personal organization from this moment will be very different. The second is you will optimize your mental health while your environment is organized, achieving full balance. Remember, mental health is fundamental in every aspect of our lives. Third, you will enjoy the accompaniment of an instructor who's a coach. You'll have daily communication with her and with your classmates. This is something other online academies do not offer. You will have the skills to put into practice with your family and with everyone else who wants to. And we could also mention that the support material you receive is unlike any other. In the information of this Masterclass UCO, you have everything in detail regarding the benefits of doing this amazing Organized Cranial Universe workshop. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? It's good to see everybody. Can you believe I'm nervous? It's been uh over 3 weeks since I've been on here. And well, it's been a month. And so wow, it's like getting back into the swing. It's like, ooh, this is nerve-wracking. But then I saw everybody in the chat. I'm looking at my phone over here and I'm like, oh, all my good friends are on. So it's good to have everybody here.
Alejandro has said his hellos, but I want to welcome everybody to my dear Cindy from Texas, Elvin back in the room, my husband in Queens, Pam from South Carolina, Roxy, Ebony, Hagio from Palm Bay. We got Gabby in the house, another Queens girl. We got three people in Springfield, Mass on the Zoom. Anne-Marie, Joanne, and Grayson. Hey, Grayson, good to see you. Uh, and we have Marion Bailey. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Marion, you put Crystal Gaynor. Maybe that's another person that's on. And my dear cousin Leah. Oh, and we have Audrey Clark as well. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back. Let me introduce myself first. Welcome to everyone. My name is Karen Marinez. The last time I didn't introduce myself. I got so excited. I'm an emotional wellness coach. My Itza, hey, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'm an emotional wellness coach. Today we're going to be talking about anxiety. I don't know anyone who doesn't suffer from some form of it, right? It's truly a hot topic these days, especially post-pandemic, wouldn't you say? So today we're going to talk about what it is. We're going to define it, how to cope with it, and how to manage it. And I also want to say hi to everyone that may be here, but they just haven't typed anything in the chat. We're so glad to have you here. Just a little housekeeping. If this is your first time on, or you've been on and you want to get in the chat, you have to press the subscribe button. It's free of charge to do it. Actually, our goal is to reach 1,500 subscribers. So please press the subscribe button so we can reach our goal. And then after about a minute, YouTube will allow you to chat. Because I would love, if you're here, I would love Yolanda, hey, from Palm Bay. Good to have you here. I would love to hear from you. Would love to know that you're here. Okay. And we're going to learn how to manage anxiety. This is just the first of several videos because it's such a huge topic. It encompasses so much that we can't just do one live about it. We're going to keep talking about it. And as you noticed in the beginning, right before I came on, what was the topic? That UCO class. We did it back in May, had a blast, and we're going to do it again in September. So if you'd like to join us for that, when we organize our environment, our brain becomes organized. And when our brain and environment are organized, what does that do to anxiety? It lessens it, right? And it helps so much to be a part of a class, to have a coach with you, to accompany you through the process. It's organizing the home in a totally different way than what we're used to, whether we're a perfectionist or the house is a hot mess. Okay, from one extreme is just as bad as the other. We want to meet in the middle and learn different techniques so we can get better and be more in control of our lives. Okay, this is a great time to invite anyone. You can send them the link and they can get connected to us before we get started. I see Elvin said, please click the like button. Thanks, Elvin. Yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you, guys. So where was I? I was in beautiful El Salvador. Where did I get that idea from? A coworker. And I didn't even know about how El Salvador had been changed. And it's it's the safest country right now in the Western Hemisphere. Very interesting. We had a blast. The beaches are beautiful, warm water. There are mountains everywhere. I loved seeing the clouds hanging over the mountain. It's rainy season, so some days it rained and it would hover over the mountain and then it would clear up, and little by little it clears up, and then you say, oh, look over there, you can see the town, or if it's the view behind the clouds. Beautiful. The people were amazing, loving, kind, sweet, calm, very tranquil, very hospitable. What a contrast to New York City. The rhythm was just calm and you feel very secure. You don't have to watch your cell phone as you walk in the street. We rented a car. We went all over the country. We danced salsa in El Salvador in a Mexican restaurant, sipping on margaritas. Like, what? It was totally beyond what we expected. So it was wonderful. And the food was outstanding, very tasty. So we had a blast. Hence the big My niece bought me this outfit and it just covers a multitude of sins. So that's why I have it on tonight. Plus, I'm just relaxed and happy to see you guys. Okay, we have Kimberly Vargas from Manhattan. Yes, you're new. I'm glad to see a new name. Thank you for joining us. And Georgina Manzarenas from Texas. Hey, Gina. I think I've heard your name before from a friend. So welcome. So in regards to anxiety, ah, and Itza says her friend Kim Lee has joined. Hey, Kim Lee, welcome. Oh, I did. I said that. Yeah, I think we're a little behind each other. I asked two dear friends who suffer from anxiety, could they describe what they feel? Okay, but first let's define anxiety. It's a certain fear of the unknown. The anxious person can experience the shudder of anguish, remembering that they have an inner fear which makes them lose self-control and control of day-to-day events. It prevents them from using, listen at this, common sense and discernment, the logical part of the brain, because they feel the imbalance or disconnection from the physical world based on their perception of what's going on. It's the parasympathetic system that is triggered and takes control of your body to avoid danger. And that's really how another therapist explains anxiety. It's an alarm system. Danger, danger, right? And the reaction to this could be three types: fight, flight, or paralysis. Either you fight, you fly away, run, or you're paralyzed, you're stuck. And it gives a different variety of anxiety reactions. It creates a loop, but its meaning remains the same: play dead, run away, or fight with the problem. So when I read that about the loop, it's so true, because every person I spoke to two in particular for this live, but I've spoken to other clients and other friends, and it's the brain, it's a cycle, and it just won't stop. It won't stop. It comes from conflict, devaluation, limitation, hopelessness, and inability to face something. And that's why that system takes control, the sympathetic system. But look at this point here. This is what really, it just breaks it down, makes it so simple. Our imagination is a double-edged sword. So it allows us to create scenarios where we can confront things and learn things. That's what children do all the time. They're always looking and learning and trying and tasting and touching, right? But in a person with anxiety, this imagination usually leads to the worst possible outcome. And this is due to their belief that we won't be able to achieve the thing or the goal, and therefore we need to train for the worst, prepare for the worst. Alarm, alarm, danger, danger. That's what anxiety is. But it's so good to step back and think about, how do I want to use my imagination? Do I want to use it to think of the best that can happen or the worst that can happen? And that can help us to put it into perspective, life into perspective. So I spoke to two friends and I wanted to share, I wanted them to share with me. I'm not going to say their names. I wanted to share in case they're like, oh no, is she going to tell? No. One friend said, Karen, it robs you of your joy. It robs you of opportunities. She said, I know it doesn't make sense. Again, her logical mind says, that's not going to happen. But she said, but the mind can trap you. It's very hard to get out of it. She said, you want to be in the safety of your home all the time, because that way you're like in the home, you're safe. That's what the mind says. She said, even being around friends can cause anxiety. And she said, especially after the pandemic, going to the grocery store could bring on a full-on panic attack. And that's why post-pandemic, anxiety was there, but post-pandemic, it has risen in most people because we went through a worldwide pandemic. Like, who would think we would go through that, right? She said, I get so emotional because good friends of mine invite us to go do nature walks and things like that. And she said, I want to be able to do that, but then I worry. What if, what if, right? And she said, I need to be in a controlled environment. She said, I want to be able to do these things with my husband and children, but I can't. So it makes me sad. But her mind is saying, her logical mind, why can't I just go do this? Or why is going to the grocery store such a big deal? But her brain is saying, danger, danger, don't do it, don't do it, stay home, stay home. And I admire her because she does a lot. She's an amazing woman, despite. And so when she said that it robs you of your joy, I said, wow, it makes sense. And that loop, that trap, the mind can just trap you. I spoke to someone else, and to get a male perspective, less words, but he tried to put it into words. He said it's overwhelming going to social events. And I asked him why. He said he wonders, what if I can't deal with people? What if I'm in a bad mood at that moment and I'm not feeling like myself? What if? So if I stay home, I don't have to, that's my safe place. I don't have to deal. So it's a fear of the unknown, right? And that loop in the brain, what if, and then the what, then when you ask the what if, the imagination says, oh, I'll feed you all the worst possible things that can happen. And it paralyzes us in fear and we stay stuck. But then the part that says later, I'm so sad because I missed out. I'm looking at the pictures. Everybody had a great time. My spouse, she or he had to go by themselves, or they didn't go because I didn't go, and I feel bad, or I feel bad for my children because of me they don't get to experience. And it just, ooh, right? Anybody experience anything like that? We can be totally honest, we usually are in this group. um and so that we could see that we're not alone. And that's the purpose of this community. When we share, we see, oh, I'm not the only one that goes through that, right? So if anything here has resonated you, do a thumbs up in the chat or write me, because those who feel bad about, yeah, Missy, how do I pronounce that? I know what your real name is. Mio Soti says yes, absolutely. PJ says yes, yeah, because for the person that thinks that it's only them suffering from this, only they go through this, and they feel, yeah, look, yes, yes, and yes. Thank you for your honesty. Um, that's for the person that is like, they feel like they're the only ones that go through it. No. Society would not be talking about anxiety as much if you were the only one going through it, right? So take courage knowing that you're not the only one. Gabby says yes as well. You're not the only one, and there's help along the way, and I'm here to help. This community is here to help you, okay? So I also asked, first I asked Google, what does anxiety feel like? And it said it can feel like a weight on your chest, stomach, or whole body. I know when I felt it, I feel it like a flutter in my chest, like, yeah. But some people feel it in other parts of their body. And then another person I consulted with, I said, what does it feel like? And this got me. He said, it's like being in a well, a deep well, and not being able to get out. So again, there's that word again, trapped, locked in, no way out, hopeless, fear, right? And so, what are the physical and psychological symptoms? And again, we're going to go through this stuff so that you could say, oh, I'm not alone. Nervousness or restlessness, a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom, increased heart rate. I'm sorry if I look over here, it's because I have my YouTube over here, but you're here. Sorry. Increased heart rate, rapid breathing. Some people hyperventilate, right? They get really nervous. Sweating, trembling or shaking, feeling weak, tired, or irritable. difficulty concentrating or thinking about anything other than that current worry, and muscle tension. Obviously, if you're worried and your muscles are going to tense up. So even physically, it affects us and psychologically. What factors contribute to anxiety? Here's another good question. Well, it can be biological, psychological, and environmental factors. So genetically, do you have a mother or a father or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle that have suffered from anxiety? If you have a close family member that suffers with it, that increases your risk of suffering from it. Could be genetic. Sometimes it's a learned behavior. You always saw mommy like this, worried, trembling. What's going to happen? What if, what if? That's how you learned and you copy it, right? Brain chemistry. We have neurotransmitters or hormones in our brain that feed us delicious, these neurotransmitters that feed us these delicious hormones to keep our brain really happy. Let me see if I can pronounce. Serotonin is one. One of them is very difficult to pronounce, and another one is GABA, right? They affect our mood regulation. And if our brain is not giving us enough of those hormones, there's an imbalance. And what happens? There's the anxiety. So it could also be our brain chemistry, traumatic experiences. Childhood can teach us you should expect bad things to happen. It could be abuse, neglect, violence, loss of a loved one. All the stressful or traumatic things that happen to us in childhood can make us just expect bad. Like nothing good has ever happened in my life. So I'm programmed to look for the bad, expect the bad, and that causes heightened anxiety. Stress, continuous stress, whether it's work, school, personal relationships, financial problems, can lead to anxiety. Medical conditions, right? Hormonal changes during pregnancy, puberty, menopause. Some women post-menopause, when they become menopausal, experience anxiety. It's the hormonal changes. And lastly, cognitive factors. So we already have negative thinking patterns, such as the tendency to worry excessively. Think of worst case scenarios. Again, we use our imagination to think of the very worst thing that can happen. And here's another good point. We underestimate our ability to cope with difficult situations. We think, I'm not capable of that. If that should happen, I'll die. If that should happen, I don't know what I would do. But we have to have a little more confidence in ourselves. And we're going to talk about that later. But all the what ifs, we go on a road trip. But what if there's a flat tire? What if I get sick? What if I'm not feeling well? And we assume that we can't handle that situation. But probably we know how to change a tire, or we're with someone who does, or we can call AAA, or some nice, good Samaritan will come help us along the road, right? If we get sick, we get the proper medication or medical attention. There are hospitals everywhere, clinics, right? If I'm not feeling good, maybe I can just take a day on the vacation to rest, right? Or if we're on the road and I'm not feeling good, I can lay down in the back seat or something, right? So we are capable of doing it, but our brain makes it so big. And we just say, I can't, I don't know. No, I'm not doing it, right? Um, Donna James, hello to you. And thank you for sharing. So, how do you know if you have anxiety? Well, one thing is if you identify with some of the things we've already discussed. But here are some other symptoms and common signs of anxiety: excessive worrying, worrying excessively about everyday things, even when there's no apparent reason to worry. Um, Everyday simple things like going to the grocery store, for instance, right? Feeling restless or nervous, constant feelings of nervousness, restlessness, tension. You're just sitting on your couch and your interior is going like this. Fatigue, feeling easily tired even after performing simple tasks. Difficulty concentrating, paying attention to the task at hand because you're constantly worrying. You're here but your mind is way somewhere else. Um, Irritability, because naturally, if your mind is going 1,000 miles a minute, you're going to feel agitated and irritated. Sleeping problems, if your mind is going, how could you calm down and sleep? Or you may have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep or having a restful sleep, right? We could have physical symptoms, tightness in the chest, palpitation, sweating, trembling, dizziness, headaches, nausea, and we might avoid situations. This is a big one because we avoid activities, places, or people that can trigger anxiety. Home is our safe haven. We just want to be home. We want to stay home. This is my controlled environment. And that's where I feel safer, so I'm going to stay there. We could also have intense fear, right? Irrational fear in specific situations, and a hypervigilance, being constantly alert, expecting something bad to happen. Yeah. So again, we use our imagination to think of all the worst things that can happen. How about we try to start using our imagination to think of the best things that can happen? How beautiful would that? What a change, what a shift. And of course, you're like, Karen, yeah, easy to say, very difficult to do. And I'm not minimizing that at all. But it's at least to start you thinking about a different path to take to manage anxiety, because it has to be managed. We're going to talk about why. So, some steps you can take: talk to a healthcare professional, schedule an appointment with your primary care doctor, keep a symptom journal, because it's good to have, we've talked about that before, self knowledge. The better we know ourselves, the better we can help ourselves, and the better we can help others help us, right? And so, write down, difficult falling to sleep, the intensity, and possible triggers. You think, well, it just takes a few minutes. What was on my mind? Why couldn't I sleep? Or what made me wake up? Maybe we woke up like that, right? In the middle of the night. And our heart is pumping. What happened? What was the trigger? Because when we can identify the trigger, then that helps us along the way to help manage it better, right? It's called a symptom journal. Okay. Seek support. Now, a lot of people don't want to talk about what they're feeling or mainly thinking. Hey, Andrea, good to see you from St. Petersburg. Good to have you guys. We People don't want to talk about it because they say if I share it, they're going to think I'm crazy. Because your logical mind knows that it's irrational thoughts, but it's better to get it out. I always tell my clients, better out than in. Don't let that stuff sit and fester. Talk to someone, but of course, talk to someone who will be non-judgmental, right? And supportive. Okay. Um, and you're not crazy. You suffer from anxiety, and you're not alone, as we've seen in the chat, right? So don't feel, but you have to go to people that can support you. Okay. Identifying and treating anxiety early on can improve the quality of your life, because again, if we're holding back from doing things, we're not enjoying life to the fullest. And sitting on the sidelines and looking at other people having fun and enjoying and traveling and doing and partying and getting this job and advancing in their careers, and we're sitting back in a panic. Even though it's comfortable, it's presumably safe, in that spot, in that loop, somewhere inside of you, you're not happy with that. Am I right? Somewhere inside of you, you're disappointed in yourself. Why can't I get it together? What, right? So then that should motivate us to look for help. And I'm glad you're here. This is a start, right? Excellent. Good job that you're here. So it will improve the quality of our life if we get the help that we need, because as we've talked about, it can affect our relationships, work, our daily activities, our overall well-being. Um, Someone I spoke to, she said, Karen, I could be having a conversation with someone and I'm there physically and my mind is all over the place. So you're never at rest and you're never fully present. Okay. As we've mentioned before in some of the chats and videos, anxiety is an excess of the future. Depression is an excess of the past. So the best place to be is in the present. It's a gift too. And boy, does it make a difference when you can just be here. But of course, if the brain is imbalanced, there might be need for medical attention. You may need medication, perhaps, or coaching, counseling, therapy to help you to learn techniques to get better so that your brain can calm down. You can also develop coping skills, right? Strategies. We're going to talk about some of those at the end of this. I was going to say Zoom at the end of this live. Social support, talking to a mental health professional, a coach, all of that can provide the help that we need. My Auntie Chris just sent me a text message. She said, I'm online with you. Hey, Auntie Chris. um, and developing strategies and getting the help allows us to prevent the negative impacts on our performance at work, academically. How many of our children suffer from anxiety? They bring home bad grades, they're yelled at, they're disciplined, and the parent doesn't realize my baby has anxiety. They can't focus. Get the child the help they need. Early treatment can really help to maintain focus and productivity so that they can get the help now, and in the long run they can do better, right? um and this was interesting, the reduction of a burden on loved ones. It says anxiety not only affects the person experiencing it, but it also affects their friends and family. Seeking treatment can relieve the emotional and physical burden on loved ones. That's another part of the loop. The person with anxiety says, I can't believe I let them down again. My kids were waiting for me. And then at the last minute, I changed my mind. My wife, my mother, my husband. I wish I could have done that activity with them. And I just get, and now comes the sadness, the disappointment. So that could be, thinking about your loved ones could be a motivation to get the help, to do the work. Okay, because it's not just, all right, I'll take a pill and I'll be better. Medication can help, but we still have to learn coping strategies so that we can get better. Okay, managing anxiety can be very challenging, but there are some strategies. So let's talk about some short-term strategies. You got your pen and paper? We taking notes here, guys? Can we do that? I got some really good things to share with you and some positive affirmations for anxiety, 10 of them. And I would love for you to write them down. And when you're having those moments, say them to yourselves and let's work at getting better. It takes time, effort, because this is years of practice of high anxiety, thinking the worst, being in that loop, right? And we want to come out of it. But it's not just a, or we snap our fingers or, to click our heels together. We have to do the work, right? Okay, so here's one, breathing techniques. It's diaphragmatic breathing. I have a video on, you look at Vimes Life, diaphragmatic breathing is a lifesaver. Again, we're used to breathing from here in our chest, but our diaphragm is down in the belly. That's why it's called belly breathing. We need to learn how to do that. It took me time to lay on the bed and practice, but where? And finally, I'm like, oh, there it is. Breathing in for a few seconds, but the breath comes from the diaphragm and then holding it and then exhaling it slowly out. I have a video that explains it step by step, the benefits, but also how to do it. And we have to train ourselves. It said that when we're born up until 2 years old, I'm sorry for pointing, up to 2 years old, we breathe diaphragmatically, automatically. But then stress comes in after 2 years old. I guess we're aware of the stress around us and we start breathing from here, but it's not deep enough. When we can get that oxygen from the diaphragm and pull it up, singers pull it from the diaphragm. That's why they're able to project their voices. When we can do that deep breathing, it can make a difference. And what it does is it provides oxygen to the brain, because at that point, the brain is like this and it's stressing and it's tense. And we provide that oxygen and it can bring us down to where we need to be. It's a start, it's a help. I encourage you strongly to look up the video and try it and practice it until you get it. Okay. Also, muscle relaxation, progressive muscle relaxation. We talked about that the last time. You tense up and relax different muscle groups in your body to reduce physical tension. And what it's doing too is it's giving you now with like you're able to, oh, that's right. It's like an out of body experience. The mind takes over. You're not even aware of what's going on in your body, but we want you to be aware. And doing that tensing up and relaxing can help you, yeah, and get you back to the present. Okay. Physical exercise. People are like, oh yeah, here we go. Exercise cures it all, right? Um, but engaging in physical activity allows us to release endorphins and reduce stress. It's hands down, it's a fact. Um, and here's how. The endorphins, and that releases those natural brain chemicals that we need. It's a distraction. Exercise helps you focus on the present moment because you're just trying to get up those, on that treadmill or do the people are doing that trampoline, they say is really good. A jog, a walk, going up and down the stairs, it takes your mind off of your worries. It improves sleep. Exercise improves sleep. And when you have anxiety, your sleep is interrupted. It may not even ever happen. I have many clients that they just don't sleep. And then that creates more anxiety. When you exercise, your body is ready for that bed, or at least it improves your sleep. And exercise also increases our self-confidence. It makes us feel more in control of our body and our lives. And people that suffer from anxiety feel out of control, right? All right. Let us know in the chat if there are any of those that you want to put into practice. Long-term strategies, establish routines, make a regular daily routine to provide structure and predictability because there's a fear of the unknown with anxiety, fear of being out of control, right? But if we have routines, not extremely rigid, but routines, what we do when we get up as our day goes by, it creates structure and predictability. Even outside of our home, we can feel safe, okay? Adequate sleep. When we get good sleep, we feel better. A healthy diet, it does affect our anxiety. Excessive consumption of caffeine and alcohol affects anxiety. I have a friend, she suffers from anxiety, dear friend, and I think she drinks like 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day. It does not help the situation, right? So, yeah. And goal setting. Set small, achievable goals to stay focused and feel a sense of accomplishment. And find someone to find an accountability partner. Like, you know what? I don't like exercise, but I know my body is requiring it. I want to do it. Can I text you tomorrow? If I do it, I'm going to send you a check mark. You get an accountability friend, and at least that might help to push to get you up. Ipsa says she wants to work on improving her exercise, and hopefully that'll help her sleep better. Definitely. It'll definitely help. So, some coping techniques. Please write this down. This is a big one, and it's so important. I take it personal when people really are hard on themselves. It breaks my heart because that's our inner voice. We need to have a whole YouTube live on that inner dialogue. We will. I'm gonna write it in my notes. Uh, the first thing is please be less judgmental of yourself. You're suffering from anxiety. Okay, feel the feelings, the heart palpitations, the whatever it is, the worry, the excess, be aware of it. But instead of saying to yourself, I'm crazy, why am I thinking like this? Don't say that to yourself. Here's something you could say. I'm going to get unstuck now. It's time to unhook myself from this cycle of thoughts. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to get unstuck now because that's that loop. It's time to unhook myself from this cycle of thoughts. Come out of the loop. And you say, but how? It takes practice. Making a shift to weaken the habit of overthinking. Why did I say that? I shouldn't have said, see, I should have just stayed home. Engage yourself in something else. To unhook, when you're hooked on to something, but when you unhook, you can engage in something else. I'm going to crochet. I'm going to clean the bathroom. I'm going to do my hair. I'm going to play with my makeup. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to work on the car, right? Unhook yourself. Get unstuck. But be less judgmental of yourself, but talk positively to yourself. It's okay. You're not crazy. You're not abnormal. You're a person. But if, as we've seen, there's so many different factors that contribute to us suffering from anxiety, but it's not your fault. It's not, there's not, you can do better. You can help it, but you didn't do something wrong to cause it, right? So we have to be kind to ourselves. I really take it personal when people call themselves crazy or, ooh, and I don't even want to say the other stuff people say. We can also journal. Take the time to journal, express your thoughts and feelings. Again, this is only for you. Don't judge what you're writing. Don't have to have everything capitalized and the T's crossed and the period and the, no, just write feverishly. All those thoughts, write them out. It's better out than in. Okay, when we eat some bad food, our body makes sure we get rid of it. And we feel so much better afterwards. It's the same thing emotionally. I always tell my clients, better out than in. Please get it out, write it down. Okay. And that can help release stress and anxiety. And the good thing with that is too, you can monitor, like if you put July 1st, you write down the, the worries, the thoughts, the everything that you're anxious about in this moment. And then in 3 months, you look back and you say, wow, I still have some of those thoughts, but not as intense, right? It's a beautiful thing. Miosity, Cindy, I'll just unstuck now. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Talk to someone again, but it has to be someone who's compassionate and understanding, not someone who's going to say, yeah, no. We have to pick our people well, our tribe, our vitamin people who feed us, nurture us. And you can also make an appointment with me as a coach, and I can help you through it one-on-one. We can work it out. All right, but talk to your feelings, talk about your feelings. It can provide emotional relief. Again, better out than in. Here's a good one. In every aspect of life, learn to say no, set boundaries, avoid overloading yourself with responsibilities. Because when we take too much on, more than we can handle, and we overbook ourselves, overextend ourselves, oh, the anxiety just completely takes over. We have to learn how to set boundaries and say no. The world won't collapse. Everyone will be okay. Take time for ourselves, dedicate time to activities that we enjoy and that relax you. It could be sitting by the water, a lake, or maybe that scares you. So maybe walking a boardwalk, whatever it is, putting your feet in grass, taking your shoes off and putting your feet in grass. All my close friends are laughing because they know I'm a nature lover. But it calms. Nature calms. Whatever works for you. Taking a warm bath, a hot shower, washing and conditioning your hair, whatever it is, do for you. Take time for yourself. In your universe, you should be number one. And I know somebody's saying, what? What? No. Outside of our creator, you should be number one. And then comes everyone else. When you make time for yourself and you care for you first, and you care for yourself well, you benefit. And everyone around you benefits. I promise you. When you change, your whole environment changes. Trust me. Give it a try. And then when you make time for yourself, you feel, how do you feel when your loved one makes time for you? If you're married, how do you feel when your husband says, okay, hon, what are we doing tonight? You're like, oh, right? Or your best friend calls and says, I need time with you. Let's do it. Can we do a dinner? Or you feel so special. But we need to make time for ourselves. We have to do it. We cannot wait for the outside world to do it. Even if they do it, we have to do it for ourselves first. Please, let's work on that. Okay. And then problem solving techniques. Approach problems in a structured way by first identifying the problem and then specific steps to resolve them. Once you come out of that thing, because it doesn't last too long. Some people it's continual, but we have our moments where we're a little less terrified, a little less hinged, right? Write it down, because sometimes we make it seem so beyond what we can, and it's just impossible. And then when we really look at it with our logical mind, it's like, oh, but if I do this, it's just three things. Okay, today I'll do one, tomorrow I'll do the second, and next week I'll do the third, right? Then we get it done, and boy, does that feel good. And then we can congratulate ourselves. We have to be good to ourselves. So, what are some self-care practices? One are hobbies and recreational activities. Again, when we're able to unhook ourselves, get unstuck, one way is by having a hobby. Uh, Whatever it is, activities we enjoy, it allows us to stop overthinking and pivot and get engaged in something interesting and enjoyable, even if it's just for a few minutes. The thing is to unhook, get unstuck in that moment, get out of that loop, and get externally connected in some way instead of staying stuck in our head. People use that expression, I'm just stuck in my head. Well, a way to get out of it is unhooking. It moves you gently out of the tug of war in your head. Isn't that beautiful? And one way is to have a hobby. You say, I don't have a hobby. I don't know what I like. Well, that's getting to know you, getting to know all about you, right? Self knowledge, self care. What is your favorite color? What do you like to do? Take some time off of your schedule from taking care of everyone else and make time for you, because you should be number one in your universe. And when you care for yourself, everyone that you love benefits, because you're a better you. You're rested, you're happy, you're fulfilled, you're more calm, you're cared for. Okay. So here are the 10 self affirmations, the positive affirmations for anxiety. Please write them down. I love them. Love, love, love them. Okay, number one, I am safe and in control. I love that one. That's why it's number one. Number two, I've done this before and I can do it again. Number three, this too shall pass. Number four, I'm strong and resilient. Number five, I trust myself to navigate through this. So you're capable, you can do it, you're stronger than you think, and you're brilliant. You got this. Number six, I am capable and competent. Seven, I take things one day at a time. I love that. Again, anxiety is excess of the future. So we're thinking about 5 years from now, next week, next month, next year. No, right? I can handle things one day at a time. Number eight, I inhale peace and exhale worry. How beautiful. I just feel calm just listening to this stuff. It's so good. I inhale peace and exhale worry. Love that. Number nine, this feeling is only temporary, because we get in that loop, we get stuck, and we feel like this is it. I'm never getting out of this. But, right, you get out of it eventually. So this feeling is only temporary. And number 10, I am loved and accepted just as I am. Yeah, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie says, I trust myself to navigate through this. Yeah, this is some good stuff. We have to believe in ourselves. We're very capable. We've done amazing things, and we will continue. So I have to take a deep breath after that one. I'll go through them again. I'm safe and in control. I've done this before and I can do it again. This too shall pass. I'm strong and resilient. I trust myself to navigate through this. I am capable and competent. I take things one day at a time. I inhale peace and exhale worry. This feeling is only temporary, and I am loved and accepted just as I am. And who should be the first one loving on you and accepting you just as you are? You, please, we got to love on ourselves and accept ourselves just as we are. I suffer from anxiety and you're human. It's okay. Don't judge. There's a reason why you have the anxiety, but we're learning how to manage it. And you're here for a reason. That's a first step. Congratulate yourself for that. Good job. Allow me to tell you that I'm proud of you and you should be proud of yourself. This is a big step. You're listening to the program. That's awesome. One day at a time, one step at a time. Please, we have to be better to ourselves. Let me look at some of the comments. Sylvia Mitchell. Hi, Sylvia Mitchell. She said, that's why I play pickleball. Therapy 101. Pickleball is taking off. So that's your hobby. Good for you. And it's active and it's physical. And you're so focused on the ball, you can't focus on the stresses and the worries, or you have to be present. Good for you. Plus, that's exercise. Awesome. Emery, yes, I inhale peace and exhale worry. Isn't that a good one? Roxy Ebony, oh, I'm loved and accepted just as I am because you are. You're beautiful. Those are some good ones. Please say those things to yourself daily, whether you feel anxiety at that moment or not, and get yourself used to hearing good things. But when you're going through I am safe and in control. I've done this before. I can do it again. And if we're feeling like a panic attack or something that scares us, we say, this too shall pass. Right? If you can sit somewhere, you can rest yourself, you can lay down and tell yourself these things and then gather yourself again. Or as the English people say, you'll rally again and you move on. Yeah, very good. Marion Bella Kristen and I do diamond art. Oh, you got to tell me more about that. That sounds exciting. It sounds nice. Very nice. We need hobbies. Yeah, it's so important. And sometimes we take on this pride that we're too busy for hobbies. I don't have time for that. Oh, I'm too, my calendar. But where's the time for you? Right? So we have to love ourselves. All right, look, it's 8:52 here in New York. Let me move it along. Spend time in nature, spend time outdoors and in contact with nature to reduce stress. That's another self-care practice. I have a dear friend here, Andrea Taveras from St. Petersburg, Florida. She was a New Yorker and now she's moved to St. Petersburg and she's always posting beautiful posts of her on the beach, beautiful sunsets. Time in nature does a world of good. It really, and again, I don't have time. We have to make the time. We have to. It's a necessity. The body is requiring it, begging for it. And again, anxiety is an alarm system going off. Danger, danger. We go to nature. Some of us have beautiful homes. We could sit in our backyard on the patio. I was in El Salvador. Most people have hammocks everywhere, even on the side of the road when they're selling goods, plantains and stuff. Behind there's a wood thing to cover them from the sun, and back here they have a hammock and they lay in it while they wait for the customers to come up in their cars. Hammocks are everywhere. What a lovely way to live. Rest, relax, recuperate, right? So the last part are medical considerations. Sometimes we have anxiety that persists and it debilitates us, and now we cannot function, like it's really affecting our functioning. We can't work, we can't do things that we really feel like we should be able to do. Please consult a healthcare professional. They can recommend therapy, medication, or other interventions. Sometimes we need medication to balance out those hormones in our brain. And it's a, test and go. It's a personal choice. Of course, some people choose uh, herbs and natural remedies. That helps as well. But we have to do something. We have to get unstuck. So we're not staying in that loop and we say, oh, I suffer from anxiety. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's limiting me. And we just stay there paralyzed in fear. We have to do something. Our body is begging us. So the alarm is going off. When alarms go off in the house, the fire alarms, we attend to it. We don't just let it keep, right? We do something about it. So let's do something about it because you're worth it. We deserve care. Everyone is different. It may take time to find the strategies that work best for you. I've outlined some. Again, we're going to talk more about this topic and I'll have more strategies for you. I'll have more positive affirmations for you. But that diaphragmatic breathing, those affirmations, exercise, sleep, and eating well are 5 very important things that can get you on the road to lessening. It may never go away completely, but we can lessen the intensity of the anxiety. And if you keep that journal, you can measure. And that will be a good thing too. On a scale of 1 to 10, what does my anxiety feel like right now? Today it's an 8. Tomorrow it might be a 5. The next week it might be a 2. Then the next week it may be a 10. All right, and then you examine what happened, what were the triggers you're looking, what was going on, why did it go from a 2 to a 10? What was going on last month, right? And then that was a major trigger for me. Okay, we write it down. It's self-knowledge, self-care, learning about ourselves, taking the time out for ourselves. Oh, oh, Grayson says he's gonna make time for himself. Good job. And Grayson is young, teenager, right? Grayson, are you 13, 14? I think. Um, So that's awesome. Keep it up. And what a good start for our young people to start now learning how to manage stress and anxiety. Wow, they shoot into adulthood with a lot of success. Isn't that beautiful? I'm so glad you're here, Grayson. And so we have to be patient with ourselves, but persistent in finding methods that work. Try those 5 things, the diaphragmatic breathing, the exercise, the eating right, the sleep, and those affirmations. Try them for 3 months consistently. Check it off in your calendar book each day that you do it. Get an accountability partner. Grayson's 13. It's so good to have you. This is awesome. And as you do it, give it 3 months and then keep that journal and then compare. What's going on with me now? Is it a little better? Has it gotten worse? Was there something I didn't do? What can I add on? Right. And we're going to keep this topic going because it's a hot topic. There's so many people that suffer from anxiety, and especially post-pandemic. But we got this. We have each other, and we have these YouTube lives to encourage each other. Speaking of that, I have a WhatsApp group. If you're not a part of it, I would love for you to be on it. We make announcements about classes, about the next YouTube lives. It's going to be most Mondays, probably every Monday, 8 p.m. And we'll announce it also in that chat. Alejandro, ¿puede poner el enlace, por favor, al chat de WhatsApp? Alejandro, our techie guy, is going to put it in the chat. If you're not a part of it, you can feel free to join. It's free of charge. It's on WhatsApp. You just press it and join. There it is. It's in the chat. And we keep you up to date with everything going on. Again, UCO, it's a class about personal organization in the home. We go through each area of the home. We start in the bedroom with the closets and the dresser drawers, and we organize, not in a crazy, out of control way, pulling everything out of the closet and we get overwhelmed. No, little baby steps throughout, and we work with each other for 30 days, organizing our home. Then we go to the bathroom and we organize under the cabinets and the medicine cabinet. And then we come into the living room and take, if we have 50 pillows, maybe we reduce it to 25, right? And we're getting rid of things. We have 3 bags, one for giveaway, one for throwaway, and the other for giveaway, throwaway, and donation. Giveaway, throwaway, and oh my goodness, I can't think of the other one. My brain is like, I can't think of it. If somebody can think of it, giveaway, throwaway, and I just had a boop. It went out of my head. But anyway, I'm human, right? And keep that makes sense. Thank you, Pam. Pam was one of our first students in the class, and we had a blast. And you also learn that personal organization, that class is not just about organizing our shoes in the closet and our coats and throwing things out and donating. There are so many emotions involved in it. So that's where the coach comes in to deal with. Some people had nausea, some people had headaches, right? It's a whole thing. So it's a good thing, and we're going to do it in September. So if you're interested, you can also let us know in the chat, and we will be. I got some more help. Thank you, Cindy. But we're going to be okay, guys. Anxiety is an alarm. Your body, that means it's working properly, but it also means that we have to learn how to manage it. It may never go away completely, but we can learn to manage it, and we can do it. All right. So it was a pleasure to have everybody here. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I was nervous in the beginning. I was like, ooh, it's been a month. I haven't been on YouTube. What's going on? I didn't expect to be nervous, but I was. But to have you all here, it just makes the experience so wonderful, so pleasurable. I've enjoyed you all. For our newcomers, it's so good to have you here. Please come back next week. Also, the chat allows us to do polls so we can find out what is of interest to you. And I did a poll maybe in May or maybe April. And every week we've been addressing those topics that people were interested in. And Marie says, thanks, look forward to your next live. Thank you guys for being here. So I think our youngest was Grayson, 13 years old. And I think our oldest, I won't say her name, but I know one time she told us she was in her 80s. I don't remember, 84, 85. So this crew, this community is wow, we run the gamut of adolescents up into the 80s. And it's good stuff. Sylvia says, organize, not me. Well, Uko can help you. We're going to have a class in September. Join the chat. 83. See, she's proud. See, I like that. 83 and proud. Do it. I love it. Very nice. My mom is the same age. She'll be 84 in August. In August, she'll be 84. Love you guys. Thank you. Cindy, you said thank you. Roxy, Ebony, great job as usual. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. It's truly, you guys give me life. All right, we'll talk soon. Big hugs. Join the chat, and I'll see you next Monday, 8 o'clock. Bye.
If you're watching this video, it is because you're looking to make changes and create order in your environment, which is a reflection of how orderly your cranial universe is. Yes, your wonderful brain is asking for a change. When we created this workshop called UKO with 4 master classes for full activation, the first thing I did was to put it in practice in my life. Here in Vimes, everything that we teach is effectively tested, and in my case, the results were amazing. The truth is that when your brain is organized, everything around you becomes organized. As explained by Tao Rivallo, a psychologist who specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy, cleanliness and order greatly influence our mental health. Human beings tend to always search for balance, both internally and externally, and that has to do with our environment. If we look around, everything requires order, even in nature. So we're programmed for that order. I've experienced enormous changes in my life by applying certain things. I thought I was a very organized person, but the truth was I didn't realize I was rigid. So the question arises, what is the difference between being orderly and being rigid? Well, our health helps us to answer that question. If to keep your environment clean and beautiful, and your life in order with an agenda and a good schedule, you end up with body pain, pain in your back, a tense neck, I assure you that you are rigid. You're not enjoying the process of being organized. This is a sign that enters your brain, and the brain then sends that message to your beautiful body, and there go the aches and pains. On the contrary, if you enjoy doing what you're doing while you're doing your chores, you fulfill your daily goals, you start by writing them down without spending a whole lot of time on it and no stress, then it means you're doing it really well. You're relaxed and your body's like, this is good. It tells you when you finish your task to even applaud yourself and say, job well done. Now rest. That was my case. And then that was of the first participants as well, their experience of the Masterclass UCO, which is short for Organized Cranial Universe. From rigidity when organizing their environment and their life in general, they discovered that flexibility is the key, and they began to see with each workshop challenge that organizing can be relaxing and positive in every aspect. Now let's talk about the benefits you'll get by doing your UCO workshop. First, you'll learn simple techniques that are very effective when it comes to organizing yourself at home, work, or even with schoolwork. Your personal organization from this moment will be very different. The second is you will optimize your mental health while your environment is organized, achieving full balance. Remember, mental health is fundamental in every aspect of our lives. Third, you will enjoy the accompaniment of an instructor who's a coach. You'll have daily communication with her and with your classmates. This is something other online academies do not offer. You will have the skills to put into practice with your family and with everyone else who wants to. And we could also mention that the support material you receive is unlike any other. In the information of this Masterclass UCO, you have everything in detail regarding the benefits of doing this amazing Organized Cranial Universe workshop.